depends upon the cycle that we're looking at, because they're different cycles. So for example, we could be looking at a Danae cycle. Okay, well, what Danae cycle are we in right now? You know, and so you look back to where the foundation one cycle was, and you have to determine what is the foundation cycle for the Danae cycles, and then you count forward, and you can look and you can apply these things to wherever we are in the Danae cycles. Or you can apply it to other things. You can apply it to the 100-year cycles, 200-year cycles, 400-year cycles, 666-year cycles, 66-year cycles, 33-year cycles, 11-year cycles, 18-year cycles. We can apply all this, and we just have to find out where the foundation one is, or where the first cycle is. And we have to understand then what it is. What is that foundation? It's a foundation of what? In the case of the Tablet of Samoin, which is an explanation of reality, of all that is, of creation, it starts with the unseen. And so when we get to 12, so 12 represents as we mentioned, the abstraction or the objectivity that comes out of the foundation. Okay, but it's also not only in going 1 through 12, but also in going from that first row across Samoin, and then he starts, man, she, he, she, they start, mankind starts in the second, in the O, in the objective, because the first one's O, Esk, Isek, and so forth, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to 11. So man is the second one. So he is also the objectivity of the foundation in that respect, being the foundation of that row, and also the second row, second being the second cycle, being the objectivity, abstraction. So man is those things. So when it comes to 13 represents, then we could say, looking at it that way, the second one up here is O, there's O, and then under here we have Gan, or man, and then we have the Uga underneath the O. So this whole row down here is an abstraction, or objective manifestation of that first row, which is more of a subjective row of going forth, laying the foundation for those 11 rows. Even as was the going forth, the very first sign, the very first symbol, the very first understanding, that's more of a subjective thing compared to the objective thing of the O. And we talked about that in an earlier video, so we won't repeat that now. But what we're saying here now is that this Uga, this cross, this test, is an objective manifestation of the O, of the sky, of heaven, of that which is above. We have to also bear in mind that while we talk about abstraction and objectivity, we're actually descending through 11 rows. Even though O is, you look up for O, when we're in that second one down, and so man is underneath in Samoin, and underneath O is the Uga, or the test. And so when man looks up, this is where he can see hope. He sees above him hope, the O. It's up above him from where he is. So he has something higher to aspire toward, and So this is a part of understanding when we go to the drift to the extremes and then we get bound on there, having the all highest there, or the highest up above, something higher up there, so we have something to compare, something to aspire toward, a higher position from which to perceive and from which to judge. We can then know how to improve and so forth. So that we do have a higher to look up to, but what is that higher that we look up to? And that's where we come to the next condition, which is number 14, which is the This is how they said it in the old days. It was almost like a grunt, but that was the panic language. And so 14, the represents. Well, I won't start. We'll start with the higher aspect first, and we'll talk about the lower aspect. But it would just briefly mention in Des Moines, if you know, if you've studied into it, you know that it represents evil spirits for one thing, and so we'll get to that. But what it represents, that the higher interpretation of what is all about, because is up here, it's up above. And so what represents is represents the all highest. What is the all highest? Because in the position before in test, you can look up and you know that there's a higher. But what is the all highest? Can you perceive what the all highest? Did you perceive something that's hopeful, that's beautiful, that and all that? But is it the all highest? Well, this is the next condition, which on the second row is synthesis, being the third one. Even as in the first row, the synthesis was with Esk, where you had the canopy, and the horizon, the union of the two, the synthesis of the two. So man, when he reaches this condition of 14, he's looking up and he's trying to ascertain what the all highest is. So he sees it's up there, but he doesn't realize necessarily that he's not looking, it's not perceiving the all highest. What he perceives to be the all highest will fall somewhere within that range. So man will perceive what somewhere within that range as being his all highest. And it won't be the all highest, but for him it's the all highest, or for her it's the all highest. And therefore, in another name, we could say a condition associated with this cycle, with this symbol, with this reality of creation, is belief. The man looks up, he perceives what he perceives to be the all highest, and that's his belief. He believes it to be the all highest. And it's going to fall short. Now I said goy or guy, and that's going to come later. We'll understand that later when we get to it. But essentially, it means not all upright, not all good, not all bad, but the hypotenuse in between. And in other words, he slants. He's not totally upright, but even though it may appear to him to be upright, and yet there's only one true upright, and that's Jehovah, the I Am.